Hi, I'm Courtney Milan, and I write historical romance set in the early Victorian period. The first place I really started was with Gareth, my hero for Proof by Seduction. He's a scientist, and I do have a scientific background, but I knew that the background I had wasn't going to be adequate because in the time between when I learned about science and when he lived, we've learned a lot, and I knew that he couldn't think about science the way I did. So what I did was I actually did some research to figure out what the cutting-edge theories of the time were, and I read them, right? So it's a totally different sort of thing that we think about today. And so that's sort of what I had to put him into, the mindset of someone who's used to figuring out everything by observing and observation. Well, writing in the early Victorian period, or writing in a time when people are very buttoned up, they don't touch. Maybe they will shake hands. Maybe if they're dancing, they'll have like a little glove-to-glove contact, but there's almost no way that these people physically connect with each other. And so I think one of the real things that I love about writing historicals is that moment when you touch someone with purpose, because it's not just like, a brush of a hand against a hand. It's something that you may not ever otherwise experience the way your life is set up. And it's something that's not just a physical connection, it's an emotional one that you have to really make the effort to go beyond where you are initially and sort of like step out into an intimate arena. This is a time in history when everything is changing, and it's changing really fast. The very idea of what community is changing in that time period, and they're scared of it. They're scared of the fact that there are women who are suddenly saying, we think that we could vote and do all those other things that work out, and they're scared of the fact that there are tradesmen who are saying, even though you all are lords, we really think that we are your equals. They're very, very frightened by that. And I think that there's some parallels to be drawn between that era and this one. That's where our story starts, when a man who is a scientist who also doesn't believe in fortune telling decides that she's a fraud. Well, he is first and foremost a scientist, and he has dedicated his life to trying to figure out the mysteries of biology, which at the time period almost nobody understood. He believes in rules. He believes that everything has an explanation, a logical one, preferably. In fact, he only believes in logical explanations. And he wants to uncover those rules and discover what they are. So when he's faced with somebody who believes in good, human kindness and good nature, he's not quite sure what to do with them, especially when he's convinced that the person is a fraud in the first place. Jenny Keble is a woman who is illegitimate in the early Victorian period. And as you may know, in that time period, they were really sort of hung up on society and family and all of this stuff, so she doesn't have a lot of options. She's had a good education, and so she could be a governess, but she's not really into serving other people. So what she decides to do is tell people's fortunes for a living. And since she's not actually capable of telling fortunes, as she has no psychic powers, she makes it all up. She does try and help people out a little bit along the way, and she ends up actually making friends with some of the people that she works with. Well, I come from a fairly large family myself, and for me, I can't imagine a world without family. And so when I was first envisioning my heroine as someone who didn't have any family, that's just antithetical to the way I see the world, and it made me really almost sorry for her, because my family is my buffer and my shield from the world. They're also a huge pain sometimes. And I wanted her to experience both aspects of that. So for her, finding family and finding a place where she really belongs is really a way of making sure that she's secure in the world and that things work out for her. After Trial by Desire, I'm writing a series about a set of brothers. And again, I'm going back to the notion of finding family and working things out with family. Brothers who love each other very much, but have their own set of problems, and the women who both make those problems worse and help heal them all at the end.